Divine Truth. Name of this presentation is True Spirituality and is part of the Human Soul series. It was presented in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia on the 10th of June 2012. This is part 1.
Get in a view of that. Okay, well, what we've decided we'll do today is we'd like to involve you a little more today in the discussion, but we'd also like to present a lot of the information we still wanted to present. So we're going to have Mary's sort of going to guide the discussion to a degree. I'm going to be the scribe who scribes your comments up on the board, and we'll talk about the subject. And so the subject, as a reminder today, is about how do we know what is true spirituality. And so what we would like to do, remember yesterday we discussed pseudo-spirituality and the qualities of pseudo-spirituality. So today what we want to do is discuss the qualities of true spirituality. How can we see what real spirituality is in comparison to pseudo-spirituality? So we'd like to get started pretty much like we did yesterday. Myself and Mary will start.
Well, I'd love to hear from you guys what you came up with, because you might already cover our list.
So remember yesterday we went through a list of different things that pseudo-spirituality...
the hallmarks of pseudo-spirituality.
Or the signs or attributes of pseudo-spirituality. So what we'd like to do is contrast that with true spirituality today. So
does anyone have any ideas? What is a hallmark of true spirituality? Alex?
I just felt basically, very simply, it's living in the soul, as opposed to a lot of the things that we mentioned yesterday were living in the mind, living in the body, the spirit body.
Avoiding the true self was a big theme we talked about a lot.
Yeah, I guess, to kind of cram it into one little box is like living in the soul. Yeah.
Yes.
That involves a lot of things, I guess.
So let's look at what it specifically involves, though. Can you remember yesterday we said that one of the hallmarks of pseudo-spirituality is it's very complicated, has a lot of complex principles. So what do you feel a mark of true spirituality would be? Simplicity. Yeah. So let's look at that one. That's number one, simple.
And
easy to understand.
Yes. Something we mentioned yesterday was that that a child should be able to understand this relationship we can have with God, or how to grow spiritually. Yeah.
Yep. So that's fairly obvious, isn't it, that one? And perhaps if Mary lists the
second one we had was that
yesterday.
It's illogical and makes little sense, is one of the hallmarks of pseudo-spirituality.
So what would be real spirituality or true spirituality? If logical. So it's got to be logical. And my pen's going to run out. I can tell that's happening already.
Okay, I'll just get you.
So
here.
Logical.
There's one here.
Makes sense. All the time. So, as you would expect, true spirituality, you should be able to build on top of it, but the foundation still makes sense even after you build on top of it. So, as you keep building, everything still makes sense. Everything's still quite logical and makes sense. If it's not logical, then we've got to start questioning whether it means anything or not, really, because God gave us a brain and logic so that we could reason on matters, and it makes sense that God wants us to use our brain to a degree to reason on things, to work out whether things are logical or not logical, and so it makes sense that true spirituality would be logical. It would all make sense. And in fact, this is one of the things I find that a lot of men have with spirituality. A lot of the so-called New Age spirituality, men do not find very attractive. And one of the main reasons why is because a lot of it doesn't have much logic. And that's why a lot of men feel a bit turned off to it all. You know, it goes into the mysticism, the angels, all those other things that seem to appeal to the emotion. But it doesn't go into much logic, scientific sense. And that's where it's very important to understand that the truth will always go into scientific, logical sense as well. It's going to be a mixture of both, in fact.
Okay.